What's going on, guys? Think DBZ here. And today I wanted to talk about something that some people have talked about, but it's not always defined well. And I want to talk about how strong is Piccolo. So first off, I'm going to say I am not really going to include Dragon Ball Super in this discussion, because Super, while I'm liking it, it's not exactly showing power levels that I feel like make sense. And so I'm not really going to talk about that as much, but I'm going to talk about up until just the end of Dragon Ball Z. So that's where Super should pick up. So that's where Piccolo should also be powerful wise, maybe even stronger. So let's talk about Piccolo's power level. So there's not much you have to really go into for the beginning to talk about his power level. We have a very good consensus of what his power level is, and he's pretty much on par with Android 17 at a certain point. So there's so many times you can put a power level, but this is where it starts to change. So the greatest amount of change you see is up to where he is fighting on par with 17 and somewhat on par with Imperfect Cell after fusing with Kami. So his power level is significant. That is way stronger than Frieza, way stronger than Mecha Frieza, and super powerful. I mean, it's stronger than Super Saiyan Vegeta before he goes into the hyperbolic time chamber. So it's very powerful, but is heavily outclassed by Imperfect Cell when he absorbs more human beings, and then even more outclassed when he absorbs 17. Piccolo is no match for Semi-Perfect Cell. So when Piccolo goes and trains in the hyperbolic time chamber after Vegeta and Trunks already have, and Trunks and Vegeta is waiting for Piccolo to come back so Vegeta can continue training again in the hyperbolic time chamber, Goku says to Piccolo when he comes out that his power level has skyrocketed, and Trunks is shocked by Piccolo's power. Trunks is shocked that Trunks is able to completely destroy Semi-Perfect Cell at this point, and then is shocked and almost kind of have a type of fear in his voice about how immensely powerful Piccolo has become. And then Vegeta shrugs it off jokingly because Vegeta thinks he's going to become more powerful than Piccolo and goes into the time chamber. But Goku states that he has become so powerful, but he is not strong enough to fight Perfect Cell. But that's where the power levels are very, not stated, but assumed that Piccolo is way stronger than Semi-Perfect Cell, maybe even around the power level of not Ultimate Super Saiyan, the Ultra Super Saiyan form that Trunks takes fighting Semi-Perfect Cell, or second form Super Saiyan, is that what it is called? But anyways, he's around that power level, but maybe even higher because Trunks shows a little bit of fear that how Piccolo has become so much stronger. So we have that basis that he's at least around stronger than Semi-Perfect Cell by a good margin, but not as strong as Perfect Cell. So then you fast forward into the Buu arc, in which is 7 years later, and I'm not gonna say that Piccolo has trained as hard as Vegeta did for those 7 years, because Vegeta has a whole other reason to want to train, but Piccolo is somebody who trains in fighting. Not saying he trained as hard as Vegeta, but he definitely did train for 7 years throughout that period between the Cell Saga and Buu Saga. So in that 7 years of training, they then made Piccolo seem to be absolutely nothing. When with his training and how much he's able to advance comparatively to like Saiyans, it has shown that Piccolo has the ability to advance through training significantly compared to humans and Saiyans, and keep up with Super Saiyans. So even if he had about half the time of training than Vegeta did, so say if he just trained for like 3.5 years altogether in that 7 years, like he had 3.5 years amounts of training, he should still be about around Perfect Cell's level of power, simply because of how much Piccolo has gained, and he was right in between Semi-Perfect Cell and Perfect Cell. You give him another few more years of hardcore training, and Piccolo would way be able to surpass Cell, or at least get on par with Cell. But then it just shows that he is just too weak, and they make Piccolo seem to be nothing throughout the rest of Dragon Ball Z, which I think does not make much sense. Especially before, when Super Buu absorbs Piccolo and Goten and Trunks, they make it seem like absorbing Goten, Trunks, and Piccolo isn't that powerful. It's not that much power. But Buu, as himself, Super Buu, was already super strong, and absorbing Goten and Trunks while their power level's not as significant, that's a lot more extra power, and then absorbing a power level that's close to Cell, and they are acting like Piccolo is nothing. That's something that always bothered me about the show. as of what I think, before Dragon Ball Super takes off, I think Piccolo is around perfect level Cell. Not after he blows up and gets basically a Zenkai boost, but when Goku first meets full-powered Cell, I think that's where Piccolo's power is around. Simply because of all the training that he did and Trunks' reaction coming out of the time chamber and then that 7-year gap. I could be wrong. Piccolo might not have trained at all for that 7 years, but just knowing Piccolo throughout the series, he's always one to train. And even though he didn't have the same purpose to train before, to defeat Goku later on after all the androids and stuff are gone in that 7 years apiece, it's still time that he probably would have used to train. Maybe not as significantly as he once did, but definitely would have advanced his levels in that 7 years far beyond anything before. I mean, his power levels just from that gap between the Frieza arc and the Android arc of 3 years, his power level significantly increased, being able to beat Android 20 or very, very easily, which is showing that he has advanced way past Frieza's level in that 3 years. So if you gave him another 3 or 4 years, but we have 7 years of training to advance, even if he wasn't training as hard, I feel like Piccolo is around the level of Cell. But this is all theory, honestly, because the show does not like to show how powerful Piccolo is, and they like to keep throwing him under the rug. Now with the Universe 6 tournaments, they're showing Piccolo to be a little bit more powerful, but still, he got beat by Frost and somewhat, and I feel like Piccolo should have been able to destroy Frost no problem after seeing Goku and just Super Saiyan, and Vegeta just in Super Saiyan beat Frost, and Piccolo even trained more from then, so I feel like the show doesn't like to show Piccolo as much love anymore, but to me, at least at the end of Dragon Ball Z, he had the power level of Perfect Cell. So let me know down below what you guys think. Do you think what his power level was around that? Do you think he was much weaker? Let me know down below, and I'll see you later, guys. Peace.